ministry and our state. Let me begin, of course, by saying that I'm very sad to have been advised and to announce the farewell of a number of my close friends and colleagues, both from the Cabinet, and they've indicated they'll not be recontesting at the election in November. Martin Foley, Lisa Neville, Martin Bakula and Richard Wynne are not only great friends, but people who have devoted so much of their working life to making our state fairer and stronger. People of principle, great character, hard work, people who can be so proud of all that they have been part of, all that they've driven and led. But when the time is right, when you know, then this is the right decision to make in the interests of not just the government, but in the interests of our state. I've had more to say about each of those colleagues and friends in statements that I've issued, and I direct you to those. It's very difficult to do justice to their contribution from this podium, but I thank them for the people they are, for the politicians they are, and for the reform and change that they have driven and the key role that they've played in our government and in our state. Each of them can be very proud. Now, I want to speak about the Deputy Premier, James Merlino, who's here with us in a little more detail. James and I came into the Parliament at the same time. James is not only a trusted colleague, but a dear friend. No Premier could ask for a better deputy than James Merlino. He is a person of courage and conviction. He's defined not just by his work, and I'll come to that in a moment, but he's defined by his character, his decency, his hard work, his determination to stand up for his local community and for everybody across our community who needs a champion. In each of the portfolio areas that he's been honoured to serve in, he has brought that sense of compassion, that sense of urgency, that effectiveness to bear. When we came to government, our school system was in many respects on its knees. James has played such a massive part in building the education state. More recently, James has, of course, taken on responsibility for the implementation of Australia's first and only Royal Commission into mental health, acknowledging, as I do, that that system is broken and that we need to do more and that we need to do better. James leaves the ministry and will leave the Parliament knowing, just yesterday, introducing the most profound rewrite of the Mental Health Act in the history of our state, leading our nation. Work has begun on 90% of the recommendations of the Royal Commission. James can be very proud of that work as well. That will change lives, it will save lives. On a very personal note, I will never be able to repay James for his loyalty, for his friendship, for his care and comfort to me. No Premier could ever have had a better deputy, and I don't believe Victoria could have had a better acting Premier than we had for an extended period last year. To not doubt for one moment that the government, the Cabinet and the state was in the safest of hands allowed me and my family to deal with almost a life-changing injury. Less than a millimetre would have been a life-changing injury. It allowed me to focus on those things that are obviously important at a very personal level, and I'll never be able to thank James and his family for having stepped up the way that they did. He's an outstanding person, a great Victorian. He has been an outstanding Deputy Premier, and whilst I'm saddened by his decision, I understand. And if you look at, I think, almost the last line of his statement today, where he indicates that his kids, 3 beautiful kids, are super excited that he's not going to be in politics anymore, I think that says it all. When it's right, it's right.